I'm live. I'm live. The video looked like it lags a little bit, but that might be, who knows. Anyhow, what I want to do is until we start getting people popping on, um, I'm just going to talk about the music industry and the future of the music industry. Um, so people probably been noticing I've been making videos about record labels lately and things like that. Um, and if you're curious why I've been doing that, it's simply because it's kind of like this. Um, if you buying, some your DAW and your plugins, and you're working in your bedroom studio or wherever you're working, and you want to put music out, and that's all you want to do, I don't think you have to go through all the things that a person is actually trying to. If you're not really trying to go farther than your bedroom, then I don't really think you need to do um, other just keep recording your music and if you upload it to SoundCloud or Reverb Nation or places like that, and that's it. But if you are trying to get into the industry and you want to be the next Justin Timberlake or Weekend or or wherever your goals are, then it's a lot more to it than just buying DAWs and plugins. There's a lot of things you have to do, especially if you're gonna be independent. Because it's the record label trying to go the record label route and trying to get a record deal with a record label. It's extreme. It's harder now. People try to say it's easier. It's only easier for people that have already built up basically their career. They already got 1 million followers or whatever. They got music out. I mean, they're doing everything. They're already somewhat touring. They're already making videos on a YouTube and TikTok. I mean, they're doing everything. It's kind of like, but if you are trying to start from scratch and you're trying to do this, there is as an independent, there's a lot you have to do. Um, so I'm just going to talk about, like I said, a future of the music industry. I don't personally, the music industry, if you know the history of the music industry, it started off as just publishing companies where they would just publish sheet music because that's what people would buy. And then as it switched over to record sales, that's when they switched their business model to record sales. But now, since people just don't buy CDs or vinyls or things like that like they used to, it's about digital download and the internet now. But the one big thing that record labels didn't bank on was the internet opened it up for everybody. The old system, you had to get a record deal, or you just didn't stand a chance. There was always them niche independents that gotten through, but 90% of most people just never. You can't. Everybody that you've seen, um, all the big time acts out there, all went through record deals, and that's the gatekeeper because the record label, radio, satellite radio and TV and internet and or not even the internet, but videos and the radio, and that was they had that all unlocked. But now with the internet, it's all open now. So um, I just think that when I connect the record labels, the record industry with recording studios, well, recording studios used to cater. Recording studios used to cater to recording studios used to cater to record labels. In other words, they would only book artists that had record deals because they would, the record, they, these people had advances that could pay for the studio time. If you were trying to come in one of those big time recording studios at that time, you wasn't getting booked. They were saving that for like Prince, or they were saving that for the big time artists, YouTube, Rolling Stones, all those studios would be booked up for those type of artists. So if you were independent, and most people just couldn't do the recording studio stuff in their home at the time, but now you can. Okay. Oh, we got DL. What up, Mark? How are you doing, sir? I'm doing good. I'm doing my Sunday 8 o'clock chat. Well, I'm glad that you popped up and said hello, because I wanted to answer your question. I know you posted something about you were asking something about how do people make it, and what are the local venues and things like that. Well, the town that I live in doesn't have a lot of live entertainment. So most of the live entertainment is in Nashville. So I have to travel because I'm about an hour from Nashville. That's where all the live venues are. So that's where, if you want to go and do that. But I think you were asking another question about the ratio of people making it and who don't. That's hard to say. Because in this industry, you just never know who you're going to meet. But I would say you would, even if you were, let's say you're an artist and you want to become you're trying to elevate your career. The more you're out there, the more you're exposed, even in the local nightclub scene, you have a better chance of bumping into someone that's connected somehow, some way to someone that knows somebody that can help you move. It's kind of inevitable. I'll give you one example. I used to play with this group called Legit, and we were based out of the Killeen Fort Hood area. And we would play on this thing called 6th Street. 6th Street in Austin at that time this is where all the bands would play. And, 6th Street got, like Stevie Ray Vaughan is big, before he died. He was big in the Austin music scene. And so when I was playing this band Legit, we were playing at this club called Catfish Station. And so sitting in the audience, one day we were gigging, because like I said, Austin is so famous for his nightclub band scene that you got a lot of times these sometimes producers and record executives happen to be in Austin and be out, because Austin is pretty much 7 days a week of just live entertainment, and the clubs are going 7 days a week. And a lot of those clubs didn't close at 4 o'clock in the morning. But, at that time, so one time we was playing and gigging, and George Duke, rest in peace, was actually sitting in the audience listening to our band. And I'm a keyboard player, and the first thing he told the management, thumbs up to the keyboard player, because George Duke is a keyboard player, or rest in peace, was a keyboard player. So naturally, when you play the same instrument, that's the first thing you zone in on. So that was, I didn't know that he said that until after we were done with the gig and we were closing down. He said, George Duke was in the audience, and he liked your keyboard playing and all that. I'm like, really? George Duke was in the audience, So the point is, you just never know who's going to be out there in the music scene. So that makes sense. I was kind of answering to your response to one of the videos I think you were asking. And you see, as a younger person, I used to see a lot of younger acts perform at different open mic nights every week, when nothing came out of that other than their money to pay to enter the club. Like I said, when those clubs, like I said, sometimes there have been times you have bands that could play in all these different gigs, and because they're playing for local people, a lot of times some of these acts, when you got people in the industry, they only go to certain clubs, because they don't go to the clubs or places that regular people go to, because they can't get any privacy. A lot of these, it's kind of like anything else, when these paparazzis and the people with camera and all these people going crazy. And they find out there's a famous person there, people lose their mind. And, these people are still human and they want to have some privacy. So, that's the reason why they don't, your chances of bumping, but if you are in bigger places like Austin, Dallas, LA, New York, Miami, and there are places, sometimes these celebrities pop in some of these places like that. Or it don't even necessarily have to be a celebrity. It could be a management, like a manager, an artist manager, or this person could be an A&R person or someone in the industry, or it could be, you just never know. And, or it could be a studio engineer, but you don't know who these studio engineers, these studio engineers that record all these artists, some of these famous mixing engineers, they go into places too sometime. And, the band sound good or whatever, or he's open mic or just talent or whatever you go, you just never know. But the exposure is, if you're doing this in your home and you're doing this in your bedroom and you never out there, the chances you meeting anyone is like even super slim to none. Super slim to none. So anyhow, we got Jay saying, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to the chat. I'm probably not gonna go as long as I normally go. So say just go to a strip club. Just go to a strip club in Atlanta. You're bound to run into somebody. I don't know. But like I said, people are still people. So if you're into the strip club thing, you got managers and producers and people that still go to strip clubs too. I'll give you an example. I went to this run strip club. This is in Houston. And of course, there weren't no famous people there. But I went to this strip, what they would do is you could literally, they would have these strippers, but you could order a steak and eat a steak. They'll bring out a steak, but it would be a stripper, a topless stripper, and they would sit on your lap, cut up the steak and feed you the steak with no bra. I mean, anyhow, of course, I don't think that strip club is there anymore. This is over 20 years ago, but yeah. Anyhow, Andrew says, good evening. Welcome. I'm just talking about the industry and the future of the industry. And so Jay said a lot of hip hop folks prioritize their strip clubs, even premiering their song. Well, you think about it, certain, like clubs like that is going to play hip hop. It's kind of like this, it's just like if you have a black club, you're more likely to get to hear R&B, hip hop, stuff like that, than if you went to a bar. If you went to a bar, I'm talking about like a country western bar, you're probably not going to hear too much hip hop in there like you would country and western. Like if you go to a black club, or strip club like that, and I'm talking about the black strip clubs, because the white strip club, there's white strip clubs too. It depends on the genre. Some of the white clubs, they might even be playing hip hop. They might be playing some hip hop. They also might be playing some dance or trap music, or in some of the white clubs, or even country and western. But a lot of times, country western, that's where they have the mechanical bull, and they have the because they do the country western line dance. So it just depends on the club. So, Jay, you can run into someone like that. But even if you go to a music conference, it is hard to get to the point of doing business recording with other people. Let me tell you, here's the problem with people that approach. Let's say you out there and you see someone famous. The last thing that they want to do is have someone that's unknown just walk up to them and, hey man, here's my demo tape. And the thing is, the sad part about thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, if they would make a demo tape and send it to a record company, where 95% of those demo tapes would go. In the Army, we used to call this thing File 13. File 13 means the trash can. The only way a lot of times these record labels would hear your stuff if you had someone, a cheerleader, like an A&R person or a manager or whatever talking directly to the label to get your stuff heard, so don't go into file 13. You know, so there's a way to get your stuff heard, but now with the internet, you get your stuff heard a lot easier. Get yourself sent to a record label and get it thrown to file 13. So let me see. Jay's Productions. Future the artist wouldn't exist without Dems. All strip clubs. Like I said, another thing that people would do is a lot of times these artists would know, like the club managers and all that, and then they would get in with the club manager to have the DJ spin local art. That was another way, and then people would hear the music, and they're like, "Who's that?" And then they said, "This is artist, and he's trying to sell his music or whatever. It's a local independent artist, whatever." And that was another way. I mean, you did everything you could to get your stuff heard, even if because club DJs, and then on top of that, some of them club DJs knew radio DJs, and this is when before radios got bought out by corporations. Local radio stations could actually take, because I talked down to DJ, DJ Smooth at club Big Booty. Was talking to me, and he said this independent artist, and we're gonna pop it or drop it, type of test it or whatever. They on a Friday, whatever. They had free reign to do that, but now they don't have the free reign no more because they're controlled by corporations. Just like corporations are buying up everything, and it's music stores. They'd already bought Sweetwater and music, Guitar Center and all that. So these corporations are buying up everything, and they're, it's not a good thing sometimes. So let me see what else. Let me see. A lot of great artists will come to the hole in wall clubs like NOLA and listen to local. Yeah. That was any way you can promote your stuff. That's promoting, that's if you can promote your stuff the best way you can. Hey, because that's how we hear about artists anyway. It's all about exposure. How did you hear about Michael Jackson? He was on video and radio. That's how you heard about Michael Jackson. And you knew Michael Jackson because you knew he's one of the Jacksons, because you heard of the Jacksons when they were on TV. We're talking about the 60s, when they were the Jackson 5. So, but how do you know about the Jackson 5? Exposure. How did you hear about any artist? Exposure, radio, TV, video. So let me see what else. Jay says, I wonder if they're blasting Taylor Swift in those white clubs. Yes. Taylor Swift has become Taylor Swift has surpassed Mariah Carey on the global scale. So his deal says, so it's just like dating some women. They want you when you're somebody in their eye. Yeah, I made a video about relationships and women, and so yeah. So let me see. DLC. Let's see. Like he says, I feel like it's less of corporations buying and versus corporations trading assets because they already own these companies. Yeah, I was sitting there. Got my notes here. I was thinking about all these record labels that used to be. I wrote a lot of them down, like Atlanta Records, Arista Records, Columbia, Epic. These used to be independent record labels, but it's funny when you run a record label and you're not making the kind of money because your artist isn't selling, and you're like, well, I'm just going to sell my record label. And then somebody like Sony Group, who comes in these are multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they come by these record labels. That's why they were able to scoop all these record labels up. And they said, well, we're going to keep the art, some of them drop. And then, well, y'all probably heard a lot of these Warner Brothers, Sony, and they're laying people off. So what does that tell you about the industry? So, welcome, Kern. Oh, he said, I agree with your Unison MIDI core video. Don't need it. I just got to see different patterns, but I keyboard play it. It sounds more real, like a perfect ad. Here's the thing with, and I'm not saying I said this is my issue with MIDI quarter pack. I don't think there's nothing wrong with if you get a chord progression idea from MIDI core pack, just to hear the idea, because they might have a progression change in there that you may never thought about. The problem with using that and being dependent on that because you can't play keyboards, that's the problem that I have, because keyboard players don't play like these programs that are doing things for people. Keyboard players, it's almost like with no feeling, and that's not realistic. It's like, can you imagine someone playing guitar and they're just playing string, just playing strumming chords? It's like when you hear somebody playing a guitar, you've never heard them go fling, 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 fling. You don't hear that. You hear all the way their fingers are coming across the string. You can tell when someone's playing. That's what you hear in music. It's the same thing with keyboard players, the same thing with drummers, the same thing with bass players and everything else. These programs, they're generic, and sometimes and there's a place for it where sometimes you don't want, but to me as a musician, to me it's like, I don't need a program to play for something I know how to do. That's just me. So Jay says, going back to a lot of these smaller labels are often subsidiaries of you remember that's what it used to be before it became corporations like Warner, Sony, and Universal, and EMI. Well, now it's EMI fell under one of the big three. They were all majors. The majors were Atlantic, Arista, Jive, Def Jam, and Epic and Buddha Records or whatever, right? Stax Records or whatever. And then these subsidiary labels would be like, some of these artists or producers would start a subsidiary label. Like L.A. Reid, they've started, we're talking Babyface, and L.A. Reid started a subsidiary label under Arista because they still didn't have, the major labels, it's like a bank, really. That's really what a label is. They just, they're fronting you a loan to go make your music. Then when you make your music and if it makes money, we want our loan back. We call it an advance. And a lot of the smaller labels just didn't have that kind of money because it's expensive. You think about this, how much it costs to build a recording studio. Imagine how much it costs to fund a record label where you're going to fund a lot of artists and have a lot of staff. I made a video on the structure of a record label and all these different departments. You got people in marketing, people in accounting, you got artist development, and all these different departments. Well, you got to pay them. The people got to still be paid. The building that you're in, the lights, water, gas, the utilities, that's got to be paid. And if you have a recording studio, the recording studio cost, that's got to be paid. So all that, you have to. So they want, that's the thing with record labels. It's expensive. Recording studios expensive. Just buying gear, yet alone, because how many of us can sit there and say you sign an artist, I'm going to front you $1 million advance. I know I don't have $1 million in my account to front somebody in $1 million yet. You're going to do this for a lot of artists you're going to sign, and these record labels sign a lot of artists, even though 90% get dropped. So, so anyhow, let me see. Jason, okay, you see, he's been outrageous my VST last year. I should have worked with what I had and paid to get to them. It's well, I would go into a long drawn out spiel about about when you spend money on plugins and you have to be careful. It's so much product and software out there, and a lot of these videos don't help. It's every time you turn around, some company's trying to promote some the new headphones. It's like when you watch the new AES shows or NAMM shows or whatever. They got so much product out there, and the way they do a good job psychologically to make you say, man, here's the new preamp, or here's this new vocal pro plugin, or here's this new, and then on top of and then you turn around, all these replica companies are making the same outboard gear. It's like Stam Audio got 1176. Universal is the actual originator of the 1176. Then you got Warm Audio, and you got this company, and that company, and this company, and that company making all. I mean, like, really? It's like 10,000 1176s. I'm like, or headphones, or it just becomes like, for me, a lot of the stuff that I've had for years. The only difference between my studio 10 years ago and today is I've just added more stuff to it, but I don't turn around. Like, I've been rocking the same speakers. I've been rocking these same speakers for 10 years plus. The same speakers. I've been having the same console for the 8-9 years. It's the same console. A lot of the stuff I have in the racks is the same gear. I just added more stuff to my racks, but I still have the same stuff I've always had. But yeah, they'll get you. It's easy. That's why sometimes it's like, you're right. Sometimes it's like, if I got, because really all you just need a few, whatever, maybe a couple of preamps, couple of EQs, a few compressors, maybe some delays, reverbs. And especially if you got plugins, that's you pretty much, because that's all that's pretty much the type of equipment that's in every computer, in every recording studio. They just got 10,000 different versions of compressors. They're still all compressors, but they got 10,000s of them. They okay, you got this brand, that brand, and they just pick one. They don't use every single compressor every single time. They just, so anyhow, let me see. Jay says Unison Audio is a trash company for not for their product, but for their bullying to YouTube. You say Unison Audio. I'm not familiar with Unison Audio. I'm just, what you just typed up there. I'm not familiar with Unison Audio. So I don't know if you're talking about Universal Audio, and I don't know Unison Audio. So, so Jay said, it's not like a bank. It is a repeat. It is a bank. Yeah, that's what a label is. It's basically a bank. Except the difference between a bank is they don't, when you go to a bank and get a loan, they just give you a high interest loan. The problem with labels is they want to take your copyrights because they want to exploit your rights so they can make money off of it. Not you. They want, it's kind of like, you think about it. You write a song, you own the song. And but they gonna make you sign a contract that say, you know what? It's my song now. But I tell you what, I'll give you 15% and make it a royalty. I'm gonna take the other 80+%. Got a little small 5% is gonna go toward distribution, but I'm gonna take the other 80% of what used to be yours. That's the scam part. Because a song is yours until you give up your rights. Then they're not yours. That's why you got all these artists. We want your masters. Because they know that not only can they make money off your masters selling it through CDs and vinyls, they can make your money. They can put it on TV and make money. They can make it on video and make money. They can put it in theater, make money. They can put it on video game, make money. They can put it on commercial, they can make money. Not you. The only way you can make only thing that artists can control is how much money they got off the tour minus all the deductions to pay for the touring. You know, booking the tours. That's the only way artists, you know, and you know, when you become a mega star, then yeah, you can make up a lot of that because you're going to sell out big stadiums if you're Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder or whatever. But you know, it's that's why you see a lot of these artists now that, you know, they starting the game in the 80s, whatever, they still touring because they still got to pay bills. Because people that these artists are trying to live these lifestyles. They're trying to live these lifestyles. Like they're trying to live these $1 million lifestyles, but don't have $1 million income. So they continue the tour, to live in these $1 million mansions. They gotta tour. If they don't tour, the minute they stop touring, the minute their bills stop getting paid. It's the same thing with an actor. You know, they don't keep making movies. You know, there it is. So, DLC, yes, you do, Mark. We know you got the cash. I'm laughing. Let me tell you, if I had that kind of money, I would have, you know, here's the thing. This is the Christian side of me. If I had a label, I would do a 50-50 deal with artists. I wouldn't do a 15% deal with artists. Because I'm like this. An artist, if I had a label, if I had an artist, and I started, and they were good artists, and they went to the studio and was making these tracks was just, you know, they were guarantee hits. And so you release it, and this album goes. Sometime when they're that good, they're not only going to go platinum, they go double platinum, triple platinum. I mean, as much as diamond. You know, $100 million, right? So you think about that. $100 million off one, you know, goes diamond. That's $50 million I made, and $50 million for that artist. Now, of course, I want my advance back, you know, because I went in the hole. So, you know, whatever advances that I gave him or whatever, yeah, I want that back. But I wouldn't be doing all these little shady stuff like packaging deductions and free goods and all this other stuff. And I'm going to pay at a lower royalty rate and all this other stuff. And then I, you know, on top of that, my thing would be I wouldn't want to own your masters because I've already made the money from the sales. So what I need to own your masters for? I've already made $50 million. I don't need to own your masters. So if you want to go and take your masters and, you know, you want to use your publishing and go sync it and start making it for movies and things, so be it. That's how it should be. But that ain't how they do it. So let's see. And let me see. So he's talking about like different gear, different flavors of ice cream. Yes, that's all it is when it comes to the gear, compressors, EQs, reverbs, delays. It's just choice. What I like on this, I like that compressor on that bass. That's all. You just have a different variety of choices. It's like a camera person that has a different variety of lenses. You know, that's the reason why you have a different choice of lenses to get different photography effects to your photo. You know, I'm gonna use a prime lens, or I'm gonna use a zoom lens, or I'm gonna use this, you know, fast lens as a 2.8 70 to 200 lens. You know, I'm gonna use that for, you know, for photos, whatever. So let me see. Oh, so Jay said that just a UAD interface and a few years of training to hone your skills. Like I said, I'm not really big on UAD products. I think, but there's a lot of people that bought them. Oh, okay. Jay says Unison Audio, who makes those MIDI packs, they often file false take down claims against YouTubers who don't like them. Yeah, let me tell you, I've seen videos where people were complaining about Unison MIDI, because y'all, everyone watches, just like you watch my channel, you watch YouTube and the ads that come up, and you'll see some of these YouTubers that's got, I'm talking about the big YouTubers that's got 100,000 or 1 million followers or whatever, and they'll use them to help promote the product, and that's a Unison MIDI pack. But to me, as a musician, when I read every track that you've ever heard that I do, I actually literally play it. I think I have my. So I actually literally can play. It's kind of like I did this remake to Layla Hathaway. It was a fast song, but I took it and slowed it down, and I'm playing the chords. That might be a little kind of loud. Let me turn that down a little bit, but. So I can literally play. So whenever I think of an idea, I actually play it. And people probably see me when I like how I create tracks and stuff like that. When I create tracks stuff like that, people see me, I can literally play. So I don't use dependent programs. I'm not telling other people not to use them. I just think that you're limiting yourself if you don't know how to play and you're dependent on it. I think you would definitely benefit from learning actually how to play an instrument, because then you can express exactly how you want to play that track. Sometimes using someone else, it might not, you might be like, well, that's all I got, so I'm just going to use it. But it may not be the way, because it's kind of like if I sit there and play a slow song, right? And you throw in some chords. No keyboard player plays like that. You know what I'm saying? No keyboard, we. It's the little things like that when you play that makes the difference in how the record. When you listen to a record, when you listen to the music, those little things like that is, So let me see. Somebody go back to Jake said, I got a good lawyer. I had a few deal offers and I still ain't signed. If the terms ain't right, they can kick. Let me tell you, and the terms are not going to be right. They're just not. Because they want the masters. And I've said it over. I already told you. I tell people all the time, this is the reason why I want the masters. Because if they don't make money off the sales, including digital sales, they can at least use the master to make money off movies, commercials, TVs, everything else. And this is the reason why they want to own the masters. The very reason why they want to own the masters. And they're not worried about the artists making money. They're worried about them making money. They just want to exploit the artist's talent to make them money. And this is the reason why Prince wrote Slave on his face. Because he got tired of them, because they knew Prince was an icon. And they knew that Prince had such a following. Warner Brothers like, well, we know you're a mega star, so we ain't getting you out of your contract, So let me see. Talking about cash, right? My new account, my account probably wants to, after dropping 284,000 JM. Let me see. Go back. That popped. Let me see. On an M1 Max 200. Oh, that must be Jamaican money. That's a $284,000. So what does that equate? So the Jamaican currency, how's that like how much is Jamaican money compared to the $1 American dollar? So because M1 Mac Pro would probably be about $2,000, $2,500 in the United States. So I'm assuming it must be like $10,000 Jamaican money. It must be something like the $1 currency or something like that. I don't know how that works. So let me see. Let me move up. I think that there's a problem with the home recording studio. They just record and upload, but no real business direction. So they don't go far, end up selling the Studio One or on eBay. Don't go far, end up selling the Studio One. You know, here's the thing. It's not the home recording studio that's the problem. It's the experience level with a home recording studio. So it's kind of like me. I started in the actual studio, so that's really the problem with you hearing a lot of people that so a lot of people get dependent on YouTube and trying to find out how to make their recordings better. That's really, it's not the studio. I don't think it's necessarily the home recording studio. It's more of just experience, because anyone that knows what they're doing doesn't, you know, like for example, 1073 preamp doesn't know, it doesn't, well, I'm not going to function right because I'm not in the commercial building. No, it's going to function no matter where it's at. You just got to know how to record properly and get your front end right, and then your mixing right and your mastering and all that. So, okay, let me see. Let's see. Why about me? Are you planning on having a guest on your lives in the future, like a Zoom? I am. That's coming. I'm gonna start doing Zoom sessions. I really am. So, let me see. Let me see what else. Oh, you never got. Oh man, no, welcome, man. I never got the alert. I'm here. Welcome. Let me see. Oh, Maine. Now, when you say Maine 257, is it just pronouncing Maine, like just Maine? I just want to make sure I'm not, messing some names up. But you're straight the nuances, right? It's just as a musician, I can tell when it's human interaction, because that's the way a musician plays. That's what you're feeling when they're playing. Or it's like the same, when a person sings, the way they sing, you're feeling the emotion. That's what moves you, is the emotion in the how the singer sings. Jay's producer, I don't know how to play anything complex, so I use machine chord mode. But my videos, you can tell I've been practicing a lot. Never had access to instruments growing up, so I missed out on the learning. There's a lot. I know a lot of people like me. For me, I was fortunate. I started in a band. My first instrument was trumpet. Then I also played tuba and marching band. Plus, I played sax. So I played those instruments, and I started playing keyboards when I was 12. And so all the others, once you learn these different variety of instruments, it's really, you understand how music work and how instruments work and all that. It's really not hard. Other than that, it's just practicing. You just got to practice. Some of the greatest musicians, if you think about every great musician, the way they got there, they just practiced. I made a video on that too. That's the only way you have to put in the time. Being able to be good at it is not going to pop in your head and be your fear. It has to become muscle memory. And that's by doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. So let's see. Let me see. I learned that too late. Every month I got a new, I got a new plugin, and the companies come out with, or sometimes you have to stop and wait and tell yourself, it's hard to, the way they promote these plugins and these gear and all that, man. Matter of fact, I saw West Audio came up with another 1176, right? And let me turn this light on. I didn't have the light on. Okay. West Audio, I'm like, here we go. They coming up with another 1176. And I'm like, really? Do we need another clone 1176? Honestly, do we need another one? You got Audioscape's got one, Stam Audio's got one. You got do-it-yourself kits. Black Lion got 1176. You got, I mean, really, do we need another one? You really, Warm Body. I mean, just there's 10,000 1176s. And then every plugin is keep making the same vintage gear plugins. It's like everyone's making vintage gear plugins or clones of. I'm like, now, and everyone's making Fairchild clones. I'm like, so. Let me see. I think people want the red carpet. That is why they get the bad deals. Build your own brand. It's because the way the media makes celebrities, it's so much garbage and junk behind the scenes and the dark side behind the scenes. But y'all seen celebrities where they're taking pictures in there, and guys in his tux, and the girl and the woman, she's in her dress, and they, look at us and ching 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 and ching ching ching, and here we go with here's my fake Oscar, right? My fake Oscar, we're going to the Oscars, right? Yeah, come on, Oscar, yeah, and I got my fake Grammy up here, right? I got a fake Grammy because I never gotten a real Grammy, so I got a fake Grammy up here. Right. But even if those were real, how much is that Grammy going to really make that artist? You can get a Grammy or an Oscar or Gold Plaque, but they're just awards. They don't have any monetary value. But we blow the award shows up like it's the ultimate. And it is an honor to be recognized for your work, but I don't, people make the Grammy the be all, when really, if I got an award from a BET award or American Music Award, I would be just as grateful. And if I got an American Music Award and never ever got a Grammy, I would be, that's why, anyhow, let me move on. I'm missing other comments. These things are coming by so fast. Manic 2 had said, if you work in the music industry, you are extracting money from the artist as much as you can. The artist get paid. Like, yeah, that's just how it works, because they're gonna come up with, they're gonna take all the deductions, anything they can recoup first before they pay the artist. And they got it set up in a system where they only giving the artist 15%, and that's on the high end. Most of the time it's 12%, which is 12 points. So the artist is always because the artist still has to pay everybody else. It's like, even if they made $10 million and they gave the artist 1.5 million of it, they still got to pay producers, because the producer get his 3 point, which is about 300,000. You still got to pay music lawyers, your business manager, your artist manager. Then you have to pay any split sheets and everything else. And because they recouped all this cost, most of the time the artists don't see any of that money. So the only way they have to go on tour. That's the only way they can get any money. Until they can repay back any, and as long as the record is selling, once they paid out everything, then they might start getting some money. That's if the record label's honest. Half of them were never honest. That's why you have to do an audit. You have to put in your contract, we have the right to audit. Let me see the books. Y'all probably seen the movie. You probably seen the movie with the 5 Heartbeats, and the guy comes up there and say, "Red, I need to talk to you about your books." And he got mad. He was telling little jokes, and I want to talk about your roots. He grabbed him, beat him up, and then gonna throw him over the ledge. What are my business hours? From 9 to 5. In other words, you ain't looking at your book. Because he knew he was getting ripped off. That's just But that he was a dirty. That dude was dirty. Sadia said, what influential people do you know to invite for a live video? I know none. You talking about as far as, do I know some people? I know a few people. So, but their schedules, it's just so hard to get people to do, that I know that it's in the business. It's so hard for them to get to do these live. I tell them all the time. I tell them I'm going live on Sundays. They never chime in. So, I mean, I get it. You're doing some production work or you're working with, whatever the case. I get it. So, let me see. Let me see what else we got. He said, you don't trust Black Lion at all. All they do is modifying existing gear. Why don't you trust them? Anyhow. So let me move on. So Karen says, started to learn to make hardware gear. And now I see why some are so expensive. The parts are expensive. I am not even halfway done. Have you ever built a LA2A? You ever seen a build of that, or 1176 or some of those do-it-yourselvers? Sometimes what it costs, sometimes it's just, if you don't mind taking the time to do some soldering, but yeah, it is expensive, especially some of the capacitors, some of the op amps, some of the transformers, the tube circuits. Yeah, it's expensive. If you build, unless you go with the Chinese knockoff parts, but that's why sometimes it's better to buy something already built. But Jay said, artists and label get paid first. They have I've learned this through my royalty statements, and no, artists do not get paid first. The label gets paid first. Artists get paid after the label. The artist's gonna get paid. I don't know what label you're talking about. I ain't never known no artist to get paid first. The label, this is the reason why that's why they own the masters. This is right, and this is why they come up with what all these advances and tour support and all these things we're going to deduct, and manufacturing costs and everything else they can deduct to keep the artist from getting paid. And then on top of that, the artists still got to pay their producers and managers and all that before they, so most of the time, that's why the artists are broke, until they can tour a lot to make up all that money that they owe the label. So, let me see. Let me see. There must be something he was commenting about. Let me see. I wasn't trying to be rude or disrespectful. If you don't know some people, or you didn't feel it would affect me watching, I enjoy. Oh, no. You're good on that. You're good. No, it's not that. It's the people it's just their schedules, some of the producers that I know, like, they are, some of them are doing recordings on Sundays, so they can't chime in on a Sunday evening, like I can. I don't have any artists that I'm working with right now currently. So right now I'm just, doing wiring in my studio and hooking up. And I did one where I had to redo all the cable, and I had to redo all the cables downstairs. And so I just got some more free time. So, but you're good. It's not that at all. You're good. It's just that, so you're good. Let me see. So, yeah, other than that, just like I said, I was talking about the recording industry. And there's I know what was I going to ask? I wanted to ask. I forgot. I should have wrote it down. So yeah, I should have wrote it down. I forgot. I was going to have y'all. I was going to have y'all put some comments. I was going to say, if y'all put in the comments, besides my channel, because I know someone asked. I think someone's asking me, or they were asking me about what other YouTube channels do I watch. I was going to ask y'all, do y'all watch other channels? What channels do y'all watch besides mine? I know, some of y'all watch the same channels I watch. Some people probably don't. So let me see. Oh, he's saying, Jay said, nope, it's not as generic as you think. Labels aren't the ones collecting PROs like BMI, ASCAP, and collecting artists, then labels everyone else, but maybe it's just different for it's not American. See, you remember, if you're in Jamaica or places like that, we're talking about the way it works in the United States, because the PROs don't even work the same way overseas in different countries like they do in the United States. The way it works in all these different other countries, they have a whole different system. But in the United States, artists gotten screwed because they sign a contract giving up their rights. In other words, you're mentioning about PROs and like ASCAP and BMI. You got to remember, an artist. This is how it normally work for most people that sign recording contract, recording agreements. Okay, you sign a recording agreement with a record label. I don't care if it's Capitol, Arista, Jive, it doesn't matter. Whatever record label. You sign that contract will say, even if you are a songwriter, because PROs are working for the songwriter. They're not working for the recording artist, even though the recording artist can be the songwriter too. But a lot of times, a lot of artists, we're talking like Whitney Houston as an example. This is why they always bring up I Will Always Love You as an example. Dolly Parton wrote that song. She's got a copyright for that song, even though Whitney Houston recorded it. So when the record label and the producers got with Whitney Houston and said that would be a good song to redo, so they sought after a license to do a sound recording and then come up with their arrangement for that I Will Always Love You. Even though Whitney Houston writes songs, but it wasn't in her contract and her production team to allow her to write songs. The producers and the label said, no, we want songs that are guarantee hits. So that's why we always look at all those credits from Whitney Houston. Most of them were always written by somebody else. So she never got writers' royalties. She only got performance royalties from performing live. So the PROs like BMI are designed to collect royalties for songwriters to the publishing companies, not the recording artists. And because the recording artists, if it came to the sales, the mechanical sales, the sound recording royalties were owned by the label, not the artist, because the artist gave up. Because technically, when an artist goes to a recording studio to record any songs, they own it. But if you have a contract, the contract says if you go to the studio, whatever you record, we're going to own it. This is why they always talk about the masters, the sound recording master. So they don't own anything. So all those royalties go back to the label and the publishing company. Now, if you are a songwriter, if you have it in your contract that they allow you to be a songwriter and a recording artist, then you can collect your PRO royalties as a songwriter. But you're only going to get what the label pays you based on the percentage, your point percentage on the sound recordings. It can be a little complicated. It's like there's always two parts. There's the sound, then there's a sound recording. And then there's, that's why there's always a lot of parts. It's like a recording artist, and then there's a songwriter. Sometimes they're both, sometimes they're separate. So anyhow, and he said, oh, you said you're BMI. Okay. Like I said, it might work a little different in Jamaica, but that's how it works in the United States. Let me see what else. Yeah. Over the years, I've been in a few PRO meetings where they pretty much outline what things work in different American versions. Yeah. And this is another thing that a lot of, this is the reason why you have companies like Song Trust that actually have agreements to get royalties for American artists when their stuff is being played in different countries, like in Europe, like in your country, Jamaica, and all these different countries to collect their royalties. but because song artists in the United States get paid by the songs and the sales. It's different from other countries. So you say you want to know something shocking? The point system doesn't exist outside the U.S. Yeah, and this has always been the issue. This has always been an issue with how this has always been an issue with how the system for recording contract agreements have always been an issue because of the point system. And you can see 1 point is versus 1% of the 100% sale. 1% or 1 point. The problem is that's why if you think about it, that's why you don't see, oh, I got a 50%, I got 50 points. You never heard an artist. Most artists, mega star artists, will probably get 25% of the sales. They wouldn't. That's on the high end. But the average for a starting brand new artist when they sign a recording contract is only about 12% of sales. And because they give up their sound recording masters, they only get 12% of their sound recordings. They don't own the masters. And sometimes it's, these exclusive deals where it's proprietary. In other words, it's where we're going to own the masters forever. And so that's that's the downside to it. So let me read some more comments. Say, I got the stems for Michael Jackson Rock with you. Was surprised to see his lead vocals started at 200 hertz and didn't sound thin. As far as Bruce Sweeting was Michael Jackson's recording engineer. And Bruce Sweeting was really good at understanding mics and mic placements and things like that. That's why if you listen to Michael Jackson's vocals a cappella, that's why they sound like they did, because believe it or not, he ended up using an SM57 on a lot of Michael Jackson's vocals. He says this in interviews. So if you ever get a chance to go back on YouTube and see how he did all the mic techniques for Michael Jackson. But Bruce Springsteen was, he was a genius when it comes to recording. It says Ray Charles was the first black artist to retain his master recordings. Probably, I don't know. You're probably right. So let's see. Ghost User, welcome, Ghost User. That's why it's better now in some ways. The independent producer or artist has more leverage without the label as the middleman. The songwriter publishing starts at 50%, and you can go negotiate on points. Yeah, that's the only thing. That's why I always said that. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. That's why I said on a publishing side, it was always a lot fairer than it was on the record side. It was the record labels that were the greedy part, and that's not necessarily publishing. That's why they say when it's 200 points, I mean, you get split on the song where the publisher get 100% and the songwriter get 100%. I mean, they're splitting it. But, record labels, I know you recorded those songs, but we're going to own them, and I'm only going to give you 12% out of 100. And with that 12%, you got to pay all your bills, but yet you still got to pay us back all the money we give you. And then we're still going to deduct all these, well, I'm not going to give you 12% of $11.99 CD unit. I'm going to give you 12% of $8.99 because we're going to deduct this and deduct that, this, all that. It's like the hardest in the world you can expect, because they set it to be greedy like that. We're going to get 80% of the sales profits. That's greedy. Period. And their justification was, we're taking the risk. How is that fair? You taking a, you know, if you were so worried about taking a risk, it's like I hate to use this analogy, but it's the most cop out. It's the most cop out statement. It's almost, this analogy is like when I hear cops wrongfully kill people, then they use, well, I was scared for my life. But you got a gun designed to defend yourself, but you're scared. You know, I've never heard that terminology. You know, when I was in the Army, talking about if we go to combat, no, we don't use that excuse. I shoot him because I was scared for my life. No, we shoot him because he tried. Yeah, that's the whole point, to kill him before he kill you. You don't use that cop-out statement, I was scared for my life, you know. But anyhow, let me get back on point with the music. So, like I said, to be fair, you can always re-record the masters, and that has been a way for artists to get control of their catalog again. And roundabout, of course, they have to do it all over. You got to remember carefully, but even if the artists re-record those masters, if they're under contract, an exclusive contract, that means that sometimes sound recordings belong to the label. That means all sound recordings. So that in order for that artist to get around it, they a lot of times have to have an agreement with it. If we do a remake or a different or a remix or whatever, do y'all own that? Some recording artists, they're that greedy, like we own all. It's the same thing when you get a management deal. When they say 20%, they mean 20%, period. You know, no matter what it is, 20%, which is like, that's a lot to pay a manager 20% of your earnings. And sometimes a manager isn't, you know, sometimes artists are doing everything, doing their own self-promotion and everything. So, as a favor, I know there's see right here, there's about 20 some people watching. If y'all can do me a favor, you know, I got 6 likes. If y'all can please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. I really, for all the ones that are watching, I really do. Just hit the thumbs up button for me. I really appreciate that. So that keeps me motivated to keep doing these live streams. I really do appreciate that. Let's see. Last deal I saw. Let me see. I wanted to get as in control my life. It was like I said, Jay. You being in Jamaica, it might be totally different, but with, you know, for the United States, you know, it's a control thing here. It really is. And this is the reason why some more and more artists and a lot of even new artists have gotten hip to becoming independent. And, you know, they try to, you know, the old deals, you know, somebody goes, avoid 360 deals at all costs and avoid anything over a 5-year contract. And yeah, it's the same thing. And make sure you have in your contract that they have an exit that they can let you out of your contract. And if they let you out of contract, make sure you get contracted. If you let you out of your contract, if you sign where they give up your masters, if they drop you, they have to give up the masters as well. It's things like that. You gotta negotiate that in your contract. If you don't, because they will say, you know what, even if we drop you, and we're keeping the masters. And like, no, can you imagine? It's like working for a company and you bought this car and then they fire you. And they like, well, we fired you, but we're keeping your car. Like, no, you ain't. Was in your contract, your employment's agreement that we get to keep your car. Can you imagine? Like, you look at your car. Wait a minute, that's some BS. You keeping my car? Yeah, that's just, you know, in your house. Like, really? So, you know, yeah. Let's see what else we got. So, 5 years is pretty good, actually. That's a pretty standard. Yeah, just make sure you know exactly what you're signing and keep control of publishing. Yeah, don't let them, you know, because they will, you know, that's the biggest thing. Not only that, if y'all heard about the In Vogue, I think it was In Vogue. In Vogue, they made In Vogue sign over their publishing for a penny or some crap like that. But, you know, they worded in a way that In Vogue didn't know they're giving up their publishing for a penny or something like that. Like, really, do you know your publishing that's your money maker, because that's what licensed your music songs to be licensed to so many different sources. Publishing is probably even more important than just recording songs, the sound recordings. It's crazy. So let me see. Yeah, that's 90%, because it's no, you got to look at a contract, a recording contract agreement, because I'm going to repeat what Kern said. Kern says a lot of artists just are so happy to get a contract they sign and they don't read it. Yeah, it's kind of like a car. You've been at the dealership. They do this on purpose. So you go in for this car and you're sitting down and you're buying this car, but they kept you there all day. Then they try to steal your keys to keep you from leaving. If you got a trade in, then we need to treat so we can do, we want to do this, look at your trade in and take your keys. Then they want to hold on you. They purposely holding your keys. That's why I never tell a dealership I got a trade in. You ain't holding me hostage, so I can just walk out, jump in my car and leave. But that, most of the time people look at it and by the time all it's time to sign the paper, you know what people do when it comes to signing paperwork, when it comes to buying a car or anything like that? Sign here, print your name there, sign here. All right, here's the term. This is a sign right here. Okay, so read here, sign. And people they're so tired and they're ready to get out of it. They just sign it. Sign. Okay, print and sign. They're not reading none of that. And that's the same thing with a recording contract. Any contract agreement. If you got anything that you should read it. Most people don't want to take the time to read all that. It's like, even if you buy a plugin or some software, or DAW, and it has that, what they call EALA, which stands for the EULA. The EULA stands for End Users License Agreement. And people just, start from the top and have 25 paragraphs. People just go down to the bottom and because they're ready to install the software and get going. And you'd be amazed with what's in some of those. Like, if you use this and you use it and it can, for the purpose of copyright infringement, we are not liable. You can't sue it. People don't read. They miss all that because they never read it. But I read those EULAs when it comes to installing software. I read that stuff. Because I'm like, I ain't got nothing better to do. I'm going to read every term of agreement before I sit there and accept this term of agreement. Like, some of them says if you change computers, we have the right to, or if you don't agree to our update terms, we have the right to terminate the program. And that's why sometimes you go in there, some software don't work anymore. You didn't read the term of agreements. But anyhow, moving on. Kevin, welcome, Kevin. Kevin says, a lot of artists had to strong arm or threaten violence or label personnel to get out of the TLC. They went up to Clyde Davis with a gun because they went and did that statement. We sold 10 million copies and we're broke. We all got Grammys, but we're broke. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you have a Grammy. The Grammy ain't making you no money. It don't matter. You can have gold platinum albums on your wall. That is not making you money. Your royalties is what's making you money. You can live off your money. You can't live off a Grammy. It's a contract on the bread and butter of entertainment industry. It has a handshake clause. Meaning your word is your bond in court. So whatever you say needs to be very clear. It's these contracts. And here's another sad part. Did you know that if you build your brand as an artist, whatever name is also trademarked? So they contract said we can own that too. And that's why Prince couldn't even use his birth name. Because Prince used his birth name. His name was really Prince Nelson. And he could not use his birth name, his God-given name, because it was associated with him as an artist when he was under Warner Brothers. It's just, you got to be careful. That's the reason why when Tina Turner, even though her name was really named Anna, when she was Tina, as an artist, Tina Turner, when she divorced Ike, you know, because Ike owned the rights to the name Tina, because Ike Turner, he's like, well, Turner is my last, you know. She said, I want to still be able to keep my name, my stage name. And they granted it to her in the divorce. So let me see. The artist and label are on the back end. Yeah, most of the time, most artists get paid on the back end. That's just the way it is. Let me see. Ice Cube did that too. Let me see. Move on. The handshake concept cover makes every interaction very self-aware that you can hold your accountable for words. Handshake, as if there were a written agreement. You have to be aware in LA. See, I don't know about how LA works. I've never worked in LA, so I don't know. Tactical Media says money ruined. Well, money ruins it. Money is the root to which is greed. Greed is the root to all evil. Period. That's even biblical. So, let me see. So he's saying you don't get paid up front. Most of the time, sometimes those producer agreements say that you will get your money on the back end. And I only did that just like artists get paid on the back end, simply because the producer can't get paid if the artist can't get paid. The artist can't get paid if the record label is saying you're not going to pay you till you recoup everything. And they kept coming out there all these ways to keep, because they would come up with sneak way where the artist was buying food or clothes or, whatever you bought that dress or you bought that suit, you bought them shoes, you bought that gold watch. That's recoupable too. Like, wait a minute, I'm using them in advance money. It don't matter that, they come up with all these ways to screw the artist. It was terrible. Matt says he's been in the industry since 90. Me too. That's when our group of different tastes. We did our matter of fact, when did we do our debut release? I got it right here. For different tastes. It was officially released. We did the album release. When did we do the album release? Where is it at? Yeah, we when did we release this? I believe it was early 95. I think it was, let me see, release. Yeah. Our release date, February 21st, 19. Yeah, I should have known it was the day after February 1995. So, yeah. All right, so no one produces for free. Okay, let me see. Okay. Not for the okay, let me see. Yeah, like I said, and you see, Manic 2 Hat says, I'm in Australia. Like I said, every country has a different way their contracts and promotions and performance rights organizations work. Majority of these record labels adopt the same corrupt habits. Not all, but a lot of them did, because it's kind of like, why not if it's making us money? So goes, especially in the film and television and music. See, the film, well, there's definitely corruption in the film industry too. So I don't know too much about the film industry, so I can't. So Kevin asked me, have you ever received a royalty check? No, I've never received a royalty check. So there you go. That's why I had to. Trust me, I'm gonna do a video on my experience when I got many other producers in the group and all that. I would do What Happened to Us in a video, and how my experience with this independent record label, and how I would definitely do a video on that. So, but no, I've never seen a royalty check. He said money can't buy you life, and you will never see a hearse, trailer, Wells Fargo truck to a grave. I've never seen a U-Haul behind a funeral recession. I've never seen a U-Haul. It's kind of like, like Prince with Paisley Park. Well, Paisley Park stayed where it's at, even though Prince, unfortunately passed away. But that's for everyone, So he says, yeah, no one's making bank on royalty. The thing is, super producing songwriters 30, 40 years ago could actually make a decent living. I'm talking about the writers like David Foster. They could have a nice living writing all these songs, but yeah, when everything changed around the late 90s going to the 2000s, where the decline of sales and everything else, because internet created access. And when you have access, it's kind of like, why do I need to buy a CD and buy hats and t-shirts and all this other memorabilia and merch and all that? Why I need to buy all that? I can just go on the internet. Why do I need to buy a poster of a celebrity? Why do I need to buy that? I can just simply go on the internet. The internet, and trust me, that didn't kill just the music industry. It killed a lot of industries. The copywriter, the typewriter, copywriter, the typewriter, the fax machine. It's a lot of stuff that went away because of the internet. Like, we don't really get a lot of mail like we used to because we got email. You don't have to do a lot of paperwork a lot because you can fill everything online. It's a lot of things, but let me read a few more statements and then I'm going to wrap it up. It's always fun talking about this stuff. I love talking about, I just want to talk about the industry for a while, because a lot of people, that's where their goal is. They're trying to get into the industry. Let me see. Let me see. So we got, I just comments are coming in. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. I'll make you loop for 4K. Yeah, that's a tempting offer, but I got a better one. I can actually make a loop for free. So, yeah, he said music lost value as soon as the industry stopped selling plastic. Well, like I said, it's access. When Napster, BearShare, LimeWire, all these torrent file sharing programs, where people can get music for free and download it for free and get it for free, even though they were stealing it. It's kind of like, why pay for it now? And it's hard to get people to adapt that, even though some people still buy. Like me, I still buy CDs. So let me see. He's laughing. Let's see. I said, Don Gordy, welcome, Don. So you think digital downloads with your own website is the way? I think so. Because people aren't really making money off of streaming. You think about 1 billion streams on Spotify, an example, just to get $1,000. When you could sell 1,000 CDs or 1,000 albums on your, 1,000 albums on your digital at $10 a pop from your own website, that's 10 grand. People go to your website, just buy it. You know, that's where a lot of people are starting to adapt that. That's a talk on the internet right now where people go directly to the source and just buy their music from the source. They're even trying to cut out the middleman, like distributors like 1RPM and DistroKid and all that. Because they're saying distributors are starting to become the new record labels. So yeah. Oh, I was talking about the guys in the chat. Now you're good with the music. I was joking. Yeah. And some of the guys probably, well, you know. So, oh yeah, they still going back and forth about who Jay, and he's still chatting with the other ones about how much. Yeah, I'm not going with there, but let's see. I'll go. I still buy vinyls. Physical is real ownership. I'm just old school like that. I like to pull out a CD. I got a whole stack of CDs of artists now. I was listening to this is Mary J. Blige. I was listening to that. I was listening to this is the Jets, Hezekiah Walker. I was listening to Ledisi. I'm a big Ledisi fan. Regina Bell, Norman Brown, Vanessa Williams. I just listen to these different artists, Mary, but I still have the CD. I like to still throw on the CD, like Tony, Seduce, and different artists like this. So, Babyface, Tender Lover. I was listening to that. I still listen to CDs, even though I listen to, digital downloads. I still listen to CDs. And I like to open up the CD and read the credits, like who's the producer and where it was recorded and who was some of the musicians and some of the artwork. I still like doing that. But that's just me. So Karen says, I only buy music for referencing, for mixing. Other than that, that's streaming, sir. Well, I like listening through my stereo system here. So let me see. Born with disability, okay. So of course, CD and vinyl quality is better than streaming quality. I agree. So that's just me. I don't really listen to Spotify. So DL says the other fact that when he asks, he went silent and he responded when he asked, tell me. I didn't think too far. It was about man. Okay. So Scree Studios, welcome. A lot of y'all coming in late because I'm actually about to end. I started at 8. It's 9:35 my time now. I've been on here for almost an hour and a half. So he says perfect timing, NCO. Yeah, former NCO. I'm a civilian now. So I'm taking a break from figuring out how to do a new Unraid custom setup. Take a middle break and I'll saw you. Oh, okay. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, vinyl sleeves have great artwork and essays and notes and all kinds of. I just think that you get more connected to finding out more about the artist and everything when you buy the album and all that. That's just me. That's just, I just rather do this kind of like I don't have CDs up here. I got these are artists I'm talking about. Well, they're all downstairs, but anyhow. So I'll say it says you've been posting like an agency sees clouds to impact web. Well, I'm trying to basically I'm trying to post 2 or 3 videos a week. And I'm also trying to do these live streams because that was the issue. And I've gotten a lot of subscribers, but because I wasn't consistent, that a lot of them have left. They don't even chime back in. So I'm trying to be more consistent with this now that I have a lot more time. So Dia says, Mark, the real question is, if music isn't necessary and income isn't guaranteed, how much is too little to take for a beat? How much is too much? I don't know. It's basically people are going to buy beats. People buy beats for numerous reasons. Sometimes people buy beats based on the type from certain producers because they want to guarantee that they're going to guarantee to get money, or they're going to guarantee that their record's going to be a hit, not necessarily money, but they want to guarantee that the beat's going to help them, the song become a hit. And then some super producers is charges. Like Timbaland is off the charts with what he say he charges. And for what he does, I can create just as good enough beats using my MPC Renaissance. That's just me. I'm a little, but that's just me. I think in this business, I gotta sneeze again. I think it's coming. Excuse me. Okay. I think the difference between, there's a lot of the artists that's been in the business that have gotten the reputation. We're talking Timberland, Snoop Dogg, and all the big, Dr. Dre, or even if it's country music, whether it's Alan Jackson or whatever genre. I think there's probably, for the artists that we know, there's probably 1% of all of talent that are just that good that we've never heard of. There's probably 99% of the people that are just as good have never been discovered. So Don Gordy says, I've been scratching my head about old samples. I've noticed they all digital samplers with low bit rates, and I see analog gear with the same components. This one of the best samplers to ever come out was the Ensoniq ASR10. But my thought process on samplers and samples altogether is you got to be careful because it's someone else's work. And a lot of times you got to be careful using samples because it can get you in trouble. So that's all I'm going to touch on that. He's still talking computer talk about raids and all that. Okay. Let me see. So a lot of times these are just comments to other some of the other viewers, but let's see. God bless. The fall is hitting, and you got get you some zinc. Get you some zinc, good, bro. The fall is hitting. So yes, Jay said, clear and declare your samples when you are asked. Yeah. Like I said, be careful with those samples. He said, Ghost User said, tell your secret, Mark. 2 words, making sampling magic again, public domain. And then there's, like I said, sometimes some of these samples are what they call free use. So you got to be careful. It's the ones that that aren't clear for free use or fair use. Not free use, fair use. Like you want to make sure you get that stuff, and make sure that that the publishing company is not going to come after you. The art, the songwriter is going to come after you for sampling, because it can get expensive with those lawsuits. You say, especially on a label, you are asked to declare your samples multiple times if you stay quiet. You got to get that stuff cleared. And that's not even just samples, but even if you decided you're gonna, you got even if you're gonna remake a classic song, you got to get it clear. You got to get licensed to come up and redo another sound recording. And then once you get it cleared, then you can actually you can do a copyright on your arrangement, a sound recording copy. Unless you're on a label, then they're gonna own it. So Andre says, I always wonder why people use samples when you can create your own. Like me, I don't use samples. I create everything that I create. I literally create. I actually play the parts, but that's just me. Anyhow. So, Kerr said AI is just getting better. I have my thoughts on AI. So, yeah. Man. All right, everybody. It is an hour and 36 minutes. And for the ones that are tuning in just a little late, just remember I do this at 8 o'clock. I'll try to do it around 8 o'clock. Simply because I want to be done, but I got some other things I got to do early tonight, so I got to end the session. Normally I go to this thing to about at least a couple hours, but I'm going to end a little earlier because, like I said, it's been on an hour and 40 minutes, going on an hour and 40 minutes that I've been on here. I always really appreciate everyone always tuning in. It's always great. This is fun. I love interacting with you guys. I really do. I am going to do a Zoom thing soon. I will be doing Zoom so everyone can time in and actually see each other and chime in like a Zoom conference. That's going to be coming soon. So, but I really do appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, this is always great. Just wanted to talk about the industry a little bit tonight because I know we always talk about gear and recording and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk about the industry just a little bit tonight. So like I said, I want to appreciate everyone tuning in. And like I said, God willing, I'll be back next week. And like I said, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you. I appreciate it. Thanks y'all, everyone. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.